everybody. Thank you for being here. As I stand here today and look around, I want to acknowledge what it feels like to be in the presence of these incredibly brave, powerful women that I stand up here with. I am so empowered by each and every one of your fortitude, and I am following in the brave footsteps of those that came before me. While we each have our own stories and walk down different paths of life,
all right, we live, y'all.
We are bonded together as survivors. When I look into these beautiful faces, I am reminded that we all started our journeys with big hopes and dreams. Jeffrey Epstein and his co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell, stole and systematically destroyed those dreams. We are a mosaic of shattered hopes and dreams at their hands. As an aspiring dancer, the manipulation came in forms of offering me dance studio space, discussing opportunities to meet with ballet masters, and aiding a very ill family member of mine, none of which would ever come to pass. Instead, I was left in a cycle of abuse that wore me down and broke me. When it happened, I would have to completely disassociate. Similar to a coma, my brain would need to protect itself, so I would retreat in choreographing in my own head to escape the cruel acts that were being carried out on my body. After, I would go to the studio bundled in giant, baggy clothing. I remember standing there, staring in the mirror as if it were an empty void. I was past the point of tears. There was nothing left. I was a hollow shell of myself. I could no longer watch my body move, let alone dance. He had taken something sacred from me. 2 decades later, I am still experiencing lingering effects of what happened to me as a teenager. I am just one story in the mosaic of women taking back their power by confronting the horrific truths of their pasts due to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. We stand here today in the nation's capital for no other reason than to say that women's voices will not be marginalized. We stand together as a mosaic of stories, but we're also finding our way back to ourselves. We are reclaiming the fragmented shards of the hopes and dreams of our past to paint a better future for the next generation of women. This story has come to Washington to be told. We will be heard. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that, y'all. I chimed in a little late today. I had a tight schedule, and I overslept, actually. I only got like 3.5 hours sleep today, so...
My name is Jess Michaels, and I'm a 1991 Jeffrey Epstein survivor. 27 years. For 27 years, I thought I was the only one that Jeffrey Epstein raped. I believed I was alone, and I was kept silent by the shame that was inside me and by the fear outside in the world. But I wasn't the only one. None of us were.
Nope.
And what once kept us silent now fuels that fire and the power of our voices. We are not the footnotes in some infamous predator's tabloid article. We are the experts and the subjects of this story. Yes. We are the proof that fear did not break us. Yes. And we don't just speak for ourselves, but for every survivor whose story is still unspoken. Yes. For those not with us today. For Virginia, whose courage lit the path and opened the door for us to walk through. This is what power looks like. Survivors united, voices joined, refusing to be dismissed. Know this, justice and accountability are not favors from the powerful. They are obligations decades overdue. This moment began with Epstein's crimes, but it's going to be remembered for survivors demanding justice, demanding truth, demanding accountability, and we will not stop until survivor voices shape justice, transform culture, and define the future. We are no longer whispers. We are one powerful voice too loud to ignore, and we will never be silenced again. Thank you.
Damn, it's such a shame, man. This is a total embarrassment. It's a total embarrassment. And you know what? Was that okay? So I chimed in. So let me pull it back. Let me pull this back. Wow. Okay, let me go back here. Let me go. So,
Our country operates.
okay, now let me see. This was like, what, 30, 25 minutes long? Yo, I'm sorry, everybody, for coming in a little late. I only slept like 3 hours today between my, and then I had to do, and then now I'm awake and I'm going to do this, and then I got to head back. But, this is such an embarrassment. I mean, but this is what you're seeing in Donald Trump. This is what you're seeing in this administration. This is what you're seeing in Pam Bondi. This is what you're seeing in Kash Patel. This is what you're seeing in Peter Thiel. This is what you're seeing in Elon Musk. All these people are phony. They don't give a damn about the U.S. They don't give a damn about Americans. They don't give a damn. And yet they use the power to victimize American citizens, to attack American citizens, to gaslight American citizens. But this is the real deal about them. This is who they are. This is who they are. They had the opportunity to be forthright. They had the opportunity to make a difference, and they chose not to. They chose to be the status quo. And these victims are calling folks out right now. And I like what she said. It's not about party. It's not about politics. But it's not about party, and it's not about politics. It's about power. Who has the power now to do something different? Donald Trump does. Who has the power to do something different? Kash Patel has the power. He's sitting in that seat. Pam Bondi's sitting in that seat. They have the power. What did they choose to do with it? They choose to withhold the Epstein files. They choose to protect powerful men. That's them. They're getting called out, and they're not getting called out because of their party is Republican. MAGA Mike Johnson is not getting called out because he's a Republican. He's getting called out. They are getting called out because they are true scum.
It's how we will secure this nation's future. And the world is watching. And before I step away, I wanted to add one quick thought. Let's stop calling it an Epstein client list.
Yes.
And let's call it what it actually is. It's Epstein's sex buyer list. Thank you.
I'm so proud and honored to be here today. My name is Lisa Phillips, and I am the host of award-winning podcast, From Now On, where I interview survivors. In the year 2000, I was taken to Jeffrey Epstein's island while on a photo shoot in the Caribbean.
Whoa.
Who I saw and what I experienced there would change me forever.
Oh, wow. She actually went there herself.
For months,
She's also
I had to avoid Jeffrey, but he told me that if I wanted to succeed as a Ford model, he could make it happen. And he was right. He introduced me to Katie Ford and many others in the entertainment business. His grip on the modeling business was undeniable. Not just the Ford family, but Victoria's Secret, Faith Cates, Jean-Luc Brunel, Victoria's Secret. Epstein's reach went to the very top of fashion. He could make a model's career. What I didn't realize then was that once he lured someone like me in, he could also destroy my career if I did not do what he wanted me to do. In New York City, countless young women were abused by him. Everyone in the industry knew, yet he was too powerful to stop. He had friends in all over entertainment and arts, and his value to those friends made him untouchable. But I ask you, why? Who was he to our government that he was allowed to operate openly for decades? Why was he allowed to sponsor visas for young models, using their immigration status as leverage to abuse them and silence them? Epstein was not just a serial predator. He was an international human trafficker. And many around him knew this. Many participated, and many profited. And yet he was protected. I know what it's like to be trafficked to others. I know that the files contain the names of powerful men who have been shielded because of their fame or their fortune. So I stand here today not just for myself, but for every woman who has been silenced, exploited, and dismissed. Thank you. And we are not asking for pity. We are demanding accountability. Congress must choose. Will you continue to protect predators, or will you finally protect survivors? Transparency is justice. Release the files, end the secrecy, and stand with us in declaring that no one, no billionaires, no politicians, not world leaders, is above the law. And let me announce now, several of us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list of names.
And they should. They should, actually.
We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors. No one else is involved. Stay tuned for more details on that. Because history is watching, and so are the women who will come after us. Thank you.
Wow. That's interesting. You know, and actually, okay, so this was it. What is this? Hold on. Sorry about that.
If that's not bravery, I do not know what is.
So, you know what? I actually missed a good part of this. Let me see. Let me go back.
As a therapist myself, I know how important it is to
Let me go back here and see what the deal is. Sorry, I need to try to get from the top.
Means a man.
Let's see if we can get it from the top.
Stand. I think not.
Yeah, actually, so they're saying they are going to compile their own list. They're discussing and making their own list, and that, I think that's well, why not? Because think about it. There's no legal jeopardy there. Congress could release the list. Congress knows who was involved. They know who's involved. They know who was around. They know who was present. And you can't tell people that they can't speak their truth. You can't just tell them that. And it's even corroborated by themselves, you know. So, but in any case, just the mere fact that Congress has the information. The president has the information. Pam Bondi has the information. Kash Patel has the information. They're allowed to go and walk with that information, but the survivors aren't allowed to tell their truth. I mean, that is that's hypocrisy. That's hypocrisy. That's the height of hypocrisy. And I don't know how you could sue them or, you know, expect them to just sit back and wait for decades while you did nothing. I don't think anybody involved at this point, if they haven't spoken up publicly, I don't think there's anything there. You know what I mean? They should be demanding, these women are allowed justice in every form. And if it just means speaking their truth publicly, they should be allowed that, you know, without being under threat of suit, without being under threat of, you know, violence, which they likely have been, most of them. I mean, this is just despicable. This is just despicable. But let me see who's in the house. And again, I'm sorry, y'all, for being late. Damn, I overslept, and I'm gonna tell you, I only had like 3.5 hours sleep. I mean it. it's been a couple of rough, the 24 hours is rough, and then I gotta go and finish that. But I actually love my job, so I don't mind, and I actually really like doing podcasting, because I feel like, this is a moment in history where everybody needs to be speaking up, doing anything that they can. So big up to everybody in the chat, by the way. But let's listen to some more here.
The government's mishandling of this case has silenced our truth from the start. Nevertheless, beginning with Maria Farmer in 1996, the survivors of this crime have been relentless in speaking out and seeking justice, oftentimes at great risk to our own safety and well-being. It is the voices of survivors. I'm going to repeat that because it bears repeating. It is the voices of survivors of these crimes that are important. So we are here together. We are here together to stand united. And I want to uplift the words of someone who can't be with us today, but who has inspired us all in different ways. So to quote the late Virginia Giuffre, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers need to show that the battle lines are drawn and stand together to fight for the future of victims. Is protesting the answer? I don't know, but we've got to start somewhere. And we are here today to start somewhere. So if you are watching us from home, if you're in the audience, and you believe that you should stand with survivors, show us your support. Hashtag stand with survivors. Thank you.
Yeah, for real. Hashtag stand with survivors. Facts. Facts. I wonder, is this, hold on. Now, let me see. Is this like a different group of, okay, I see. Each one has their support group with them. That's what it is.
I'd now
That's
love
why I
to
was
welcome
getting
to the
confused.
stage Sigrid McCauley, Annie Farmer, Virginia's incredible family.
And as you can see, this is right out in front
Teresa
of
Helm.
the Capitol. This is right out in front of the Capitol and on the Capitol grounds, where MAGA Mike Johnson likes to show up and bullshit people every day. Gaslight people every day. I mean, it's wicked. It's wicked. They are wicked.
Good morning.
These people are wicked that's doing
We
this.
come together in the nation's capital at this watershed moment for survivors. They're demanding justice. They're demanding accountability. And they're demanding action. For far too long, Maxwell and Epstein committed crimes throughout our country and our world. And it's time to hold those that facilitated those crimes accountable. We've heard a lot of words for many, far too many years.
Yeah, Katie
It's
Johnson
time
was 13,
finally
was
for
12,
action.
yeah. 12 and
Earlier
13.
this year, many of you know that we lost a dear friend and a client of mine, Virginia Giuffre. Her wonderful family is with us here today. I can tell you that she would have loved this moment. It would have been so special for her to see all of you here today. And I know she's with us. And what she would want you to hear today is stay strong and keep fighting for justice. Thank you.
And there's some people
I'm
that think it's a
going to
joke.
take a moment to read from one of our fellow survivors who, thank you, was too afraid to come here today. Her name is Juliet Bryant, and she asked me to read this letter to you all. I wish I could be here today. Unfortunately, I'm too afraid to travel to America after everything that has happened. I am, however, here in spirit, like many other survivors, such as Virginia Giuffre and Carolyn Adriano. I want to speak out for all victims of abuse, especially those who can no longer speak, those both alive and dead. For years, the truth about Epstein has been covered up. They say there's no Epstein list. Speak to us. It's time to dig deeper, do the financial research. It's clear that for years there has been a big cover-up. We have all been lied to. It's especially difficult for victims of Epstein to move on when it's thrown in their face daily through the media without any closure. The public has now become the victims of this as well. We have all been badly hurt by this. It's time for the truth to come out. It's time to stand up for victims of all crimes. It's time for the perpetrators to be held accountable. Thank you for being here and for standing by myself and other victims. Together we will make change. There is strength in numbers, and we will do it together. From Juliette Bryant. And now I'd like to introduce Annie Farmer.
Yeah, facts. If you still support Trump, you're a pedophile, basically.
Thank you so much for being here today. Your support means more than you know. My sister Maria Farmer was not able to attend, and so I will read her remarks for her. Due to the debilitating effects of the last few years of cancer treatment, I am unable to be here today. My sister, Annie Farmer, will speak for me. She is a primary reason that I reported Epstein, Maxwell, and others to the FBI in 1996 after they assaulted us in 2 different locations and held me captive at Wexner's estate, while Maxwell also stole photos that were my private art studies and twisted them into child sexual abuse materials, harming my sisters and myself. In 2006, the FBI demanded my testimony for a federal trial, promising justice, but failed again. For 30 years, I've fought not only sex traffickers, but a federal government that has enabled them, while that same government fully ignored teen safety and my many FOIA report requests. After 3 decades of failure, I am suing them for answers.
Do that.
Virginia Giuffre's heroism, speaking her truth, her humility, her bravery, and love, ended my 14 years of fear and silence. She is the heart of this fight. Please take a moment of silence for her. And I would just like to say, speaking for myself now, how very much it means to see this show of solidarity today. After feeling so isolated and alone for so many years with this fight, it's incredible to see all of you standing here and to feel the support coming from elsewhere as well. As a public, since I've come out publicly in this case, I've received so many notes and messages from people who have been impacted by this story because of how much they relate to the struggles involved in this story. Unfortunately, that's because so many people are affected by these crimes. We have a huge, widespread issue with child sexual abuse, with sexual violence against women, with abuse of power in all forms that leads to all forms of trafficking. And so I truly believe when you're facing problems at this scale, it requires this type of force of coming together, creative solutions around not just the punishment of these very guilty perpetrators, but also education, so people know the signs and understand the signs and can recognize the things that I didn't recognize when I was being, lured into this world. So I'm so grateful for organizations that do this work. Thank you for World Without Exploitation for hosting this and for doing the very, very important work of education. And I just want to thank all of you. I think we all have a role to play in coming together to change these very challenging situations that we face and to solve these problems. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sky Roberts, and I'm here today with my wife Amanda Roberts and my brother Daniel Wilson. We are proud and heartbroken to be standing here before you as the family of Virginia Roberts Giuffre. Virginia is not only our sister, she is a warrior, a survivor. And even though she is no longer with us in body, her voice, her courage, and her fight live on through every one of us here today. We want to start by saying thank you to the survivors who show unimaginable strength simply by standing here, to World Without Exploitation, whose tireless work helps turn pain into purpose, and to every person who refuses to stay silent, even when the world makes it easier to look away. It is an honor, a true privilege to stand with you, to support you, and to help keep Virginia's voice alive. Virginia fought for truth. She fought to expose a system that allowed the wealthy, the connected, and the powerful to exploit and abuse girls and young women without consequence. She fought for every survivor who was silenced, doubted, or discarded. And she never backed down, even when the world tried to break her. Today we rally not only in her memory, but in solidarity with every survivor. We are here to say, we see you, we believe you, and we will not stop until justice is served. Because justice is not selective. It does not and must not bend to money, influence, or titles. We are here because every survivor deserves more than a headline. They deserve more than a single conviction. They deserve the full weight of the law behind them. Our demands are clear. Elaine Maxwell must remain in a maximum.
Giv dine kunder et godt førstehåndsindtryk med velkomst.
Hold on, sorry about that. Yeah, because this is live, so they got something
No
wrong.
leniency, no deal
Let's go back.
until justice is served. Because justice is not selective. It does not and must not bend to money, influence, or titles. We are here because every survivor deserves more than a headline. They deserve more than a single conviction. They deserve the full weight of the law behind them. Our demands are clear. Elaine Maxwell must remain in a maximum security prison for the rest of her life.
Facts.
No leniency, no deals, no special treatment.
I'm not
The
sure,
Epstein
Donald.
documents must be unsealed.
Good
Every
question.
name, every detail, no more secrets, no more protection for those who preyed on the vulnerable. And finally, we demand full accountability from every enabler, every accomplice, every person in power who turned a blind eye. The justice system was not designed to serve the powerful. It was meant to protect the people. And it's time it started doing just that. This movement isn't just about the past. It's about reshaping the future. A future where survivors are not shamed, silenced, or ignored, but heard, honored, and empowered. Thank you. Thank you for standing here, for fighting alongside us, and for refusing to let this story end with injustice. Virginia's voice echoes in every one of us. Let's make sure the world keeps listening. I want to end it with a quote from Virginia, and I'm going to hand it over to my wife, Amanda.
This is a quote from Virginia's journals. I look forward to the days when money and power does not stop the truth from coming out and the righteous prevail.
Mm-hmm. Hey, damn, that was her words? Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Wow. She looks forward to the day where money doesn't stop truth from coming out. I mean, we know who they talking about. We know who they're talking about. And this is who runs things right now.
Well, good morning. I am Teresa J. Helm. I am the survivor of Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. And I work with the National Center on Sexual Exploitation here in Washington, D.C., very proudly. And today, I stand here as an expert of my lived experience at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell, or as I first knew her as, Miss Maxwell. I was systematically recruited, trafficked across this great nation, groomed, and assaulted. Ghislaine, it was your butler that greeted me at the front door of your beautiful home, and it was your calm, manipulative, and fraudulent demeanor that cultivated my trust. That coercive system that you have mastered was entirely end-game oriented. And that end game was to feed the perversion of you and Jeffrey through sexual violence. It was you who sent me off to the home of a monster, knowing what was waiting for me. Ghislaine Maxwell, you are the system.
Damn. Yeah, they said they own the FBI. They own the
And
DOJ,
now,
right?
you are but a part of another system. One that you've earned through your very own choices and actions. A prison system where you deserve to live for every moment of your 20-year sentence. And that alone is not enough. Systems require support. There are others that are complicit, that have caused harm to women and children, that have benefited from that harm, and as it stands in this moment, have enjoyed impunity and dodged accountability. We've heard her voice, now hear ours, loud and clear. Systems built with a root of corruption, violence, and deceit always crumble. That time is coming. Your pseudo-power has diminished. It is our time in the power of justice, of common sense. It's our system now. This is a call to action. Now is the time to sift through and get rid of the perpetrators and bad actors. This imminent shift is how our country operates. It's how we will secure this nation's future. And the world is watching. And before I step away, I wanted to add one quick thought. Let's stop calling it an Epstein client list. And let's call it what it actually is. It's Epstein's sex.
Come down, meeting
okay,
ultra standard.
Yeah, okay. I think that part got spun over again. We seen that, but let me just let it play because I know I came in a little late. Okay, so this is playing over. Let me see. Okay, I see. I kind of came in the middle.
I do not know what is. Woo! Okay, we're bringing up another group of women. Ashley, Danny, Jess, Haley, and Wendy. Come on up.
Damn, is this many? It's this many women. It's hundreds of women. It's hundreds. Literally, this is a lot of women. You know. Anyway, I can't wait to give some commentary, but I want to make sure I get everybody in, all the women's voices in real quick.
So my name is Ashley Rubright, and I am a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Some things I want to say. To any survivors out there who feel like they don't matter, it doesn't matter if you went once or countless times. We were groomed. We were manipulated, and we were taken advantage of. Yep. For decades, survivors have been suffocated by speculation. We've been mocked, we've been doubted, we've been re-traumatized, while those responsible hide in secrecy. Why don't we deserve justice? This is not partisan. However, this is very political, as the only path to justice is through our political system.
Yep.
And this is about justice. This is about accountability. This is about protecting the innocence of our children and honoring the dignity of survivors. Everywhere we turn, the story follows us. It's in headlines, jokes, music, grocery store checkout lines, random conversations that you hear people having in restaurants. For more than 20 years, we've been unable to escape it. And every time new promises are made, our sparks of hope are lit, only to be extinguished again. We are tired. However, we are not going away.
That's how you gotta be if you want justice, for real.
Or give up. And we will be on the front lines of this battle. We are no longer scared. And let's be clear. There were so many enabling adults. Those enablers actively turned a blind eye, and they are the greatest danger.
Yes.
And you know who you are, as do we. You allowed us to be abused for a fat check and a cushy life, which you still have.
Damn.
And to those in power, hear us clearly. Do your job. Release what needs to be released.
Yes.
And hold those responsible accountable. Survivors, sorry. Thank you. Survivors deserve peace. Survivors deserve truth. Survivors deserve justice. And to my fellow survivors, your voice matters, your story matters, and you matter. Together we are louder than the silence. Together we will not stop until justice is done.
Good afternoon.
All right, I'm going to do some commentary now, per the YouTube video guidelines. But listen, first of all, it never just surprises me. There's always, look, somebody here called M something cat in the chat says, stop the BS, lady. Yo, you need to stop the BS. You need to stop the BS. I mean, imagine if something happened to you, anything, and it happened to 10, 20, 30, 100 other people. And all of you all stood up there and said it happened. And what you're saying is no one should believe you, you damn fool. It's like, what the hell? You have no human instincts. You can't look at these women and tell that this is real. This really happened to them. You can't tell that. You can't look. Everybody, all you have to do is judge. If you're just trying to be fair, all you got to do is take a real animal, because you're an animal. People, human beings are animal. We have animal instincts. You can look at Pam Bondi. You can look at Kash Patel. You can look at Donald Trump and tell they're fake. You can look at these women and tell they're speaking their hearts. You can look and see it, and anybody at this point, actually, I'm like, damn, how can you get on the internet and show yourself to be this way, this type of person? I mean, what do you got, a fake account or something, like where you never get to show who you are or your face or anything like that? I mean, really, y'all, don't even worry about it, because you have people like this in the world, and you got trolls out there, and you also have sickos, as we know. We have sickos, but yeah, this is harrowing. These women are definitely brave. They stood up. They're more braver than the men and the others and the powerful people, even the women that helped them. These women are are more braver than all of those people that did this to them. You know, those people are hiding, scared, using the justice system in the most warped way against people that were victims when they were kids. They're survivors. They're still victims because they never got justice, but people that got victimized when they were children. I mean, that's how cowardly those people are. And listen, the fact that these people got away with it with these little girls and got away with it this long, they're getting away with this shit against all the American people because they are frauds. They are complete, utter frauds, and they are raping America right now. They are raping the world right now. They are, but most importantly, they are raping American citizens right now. All. And only a goddamn fool would be proud to be raped. Only a fucking fool. You know, and that's what we have here with Kat. We have a fool that's proud of it. You know, all I can say is go get some psychological help, flat out. Go get some help.
Wow, a lot of people showed out for us today. That's right. I wasn't expecting all this support. What an incredible feeling, and thank you for everybody for being here. I'm going to try to make this as quick so the other girls don't have to be crunching for time. My name is Haley Robson. I came out in 2019 on the documentary Filthy Rich. I have been very focused on bringing more awareness to all of the survivors. I am so proud to stand with them. I am so proud to be up here to support them because they deserve all the love and support. And I just want to say to the women who chose this moment to come out for the very first time about your abuse, I cannot think of a more important, greater purpose in life than to stand in solidarity when time is against us, when the politicians have made us an enemy, when the world is watching and everybody is hoping for some type of result. Thank you for choosing this moment for the first time to be so brave to come out and stand in solidarity.
Facts.
I prayed for a moment. I prayed for this moment where God would fill us with reinforcements. I want to acknowledge all the women, unfortunately, that couldn't be here today because I think that is the only list of real great importance, and we should never forget the voices that were not only silenced, but that are not here today, and we should never forget the sacrifices that they made. So today I would like to take a moment for Virginia, Sky, Danielle, and Carolyn. Their voices were just as powerful, and they were silenced just as much. And for some reason, I can feel their spirit, especially Virginia's today. She would be so proud, and she would be so beside herself to see this one moment we have all came together to unite. And for our government, and for the politicians who have taken our trauma and have weaponized it against us, making it unbearable, making it unlivable, making it hard to move on in a life that we wish to live in happiness and joy and peace and injustice that can only come from within at this point. And we have gotten to this point. Shame on you. Shame on you for using our trauma to weaponize this moment.
Yep.
We are not going to be fooled by your trickery. We are not going to be fooled by the lies, by the conspiracy theories. We are the keys to this situation. We have the truth. And the FBI knows the truth. The government knows the truth. You may pull the wool over the sheep's eyes, but we are the keys. We know who was involved. We know the game. We know the players. And we are sitting here for 20 years waiting for you to get up and do something. Well, guess what? Your time is up, and now we're doing it.
Damn! Woo! Oh my, yo, and it's facts. And look, I mean, Pam Bondi, you've known this shit for 20 years, and she's still playing for who? For the perpetrators. I mean, she's literally on the side. I mean, it looks like she's on the side of the perpetrators when you have the victims calling you out. You know, the FBI. I mean, what? It may as well be the DOJ too. Yeah, Cash Patel and Pam. But Pam Bondi was back with Al Acosta back in the 90s knowing about this shit, you know, and this is a watershed moment for the country, for the United States. I mean, you know, there can be no greater enemy than the people who victimize them, who played a role. There can be no greater enemies of the United States of America, actually, you know, because you're doing it from the inside. You're using the power structure to actually cover up pedophiles. I mean, cover up the people who victimize it, cover up the criminals. They're literally doing that, and they're doing it in the most foul way. You know, I mean, this is like, you know, but it's no surprise that the same people are out there every day sending the military out in the streets of the United States to go kick homeless people around, to go grab babies from mothers, you know, because they were given granted stay under Biden, and now you just feel like you have the right to treat them like trash. You know, I mean, it is the same people. This is their playbook. It's only to victimize, rape, plunder, you know, like.
How do you follow that? Hello, everybody. My name is Wendy Pasante, and I was abused by Jeffrey Epstein when I was 14 years old. I'm not here to relive what happened. I'm here to be counted and to make sure.
A lot of these victims were 12, 13, 14. I even read, I heard there's some accounts of people that were 10 years old. Jean-Luc, whatever his name is, Jean something, the guy from France that had the modeling agency that was linked with Epstein. He was buying 10-year-old girls, yo. Buying. Not just trafficking, at literally buying girls out of Eastern Europe. That's what they say, literally back then. And yeah.
Sure others are counted too. I once believed my silence was strength. Hold it together. Don't draw attention. Today I know that strength sounds like my voice. It sounds like everybody's voice is up here. Silence only protects predators, not children. People ask, what about the victims? We're here. We're here today, and there's more of us.
Det her er Simply.coms hjemmesidedesigner.
Okay, 2 seconds. Sorry about that. Let's see here. All right, let's go.
Is a struggle where people in hold it together. Don't draw attention. Today I know that strength sounds like my voice. It sounds like everybody's voice is up here. Silence only protects predators, not children. People ask, what about the victims? We're here. We're here today, and there's more of us. I stand with many who are still finding their words. I live in a world where being understood is a struggle, where people in power would rather sweep us under the rug in hopes that we'll go away. We won't. Being a survivor is not a headline. It's our life. We have to live it. It's panic in a grocery store. It's smiling at work while my hands tremble. It's waking up at 3 a.m. with my heart racing and not knowing why. It's living with PTSD, anxiety, and depression, and your nervous system's on guard at all times, even in the safest room around the safest people.
Damn.
Healing isn't tidy. It's therapy. It's wait lists. It's trying a medication and trying again, over and over, for years. It's setting boundaries with some people who won't understand. Survival isn't weakness, it's wisdom we've earned. If you are a survivor hearing me, your voice is never too late, too much, or too little. If all you could do was show up today, you're already trying to make a difference. You do not owe anyone your story. You are owed safety, care, and belief. Your breath is proof that harm does not get the last word. I'm not asking anyone to take a political side. I really don't even follow a lot of politics. I'm asking you to take a stand in solidarity. Protect the vulnerable, not the powerful. Protect children and survivors, not titles and reputations. Our silence doesn't keep us safe. And I hope today's courage from all of us ladies can help someone else be safer tomorrow. We are here and we refuse to be erased. So thank you guys for listening to all of us and being here today.
Yeah, you know, I was going over some information. There's a lot of information that's actually been put in the public, and it's so wild because you know, the Justice Department just won't act. You know, the FBI just won't act. And you know, they're not even pretending to care, to be honest. I mean, they're doing the worst effort. If they trying to look like they care, they're doing a really horrible job at it. A really horrible job at it. And that, I mean, not that the stain on the country is the worst thing, but that is a serious stain on the USA. I mean, there is no greater stain than how you treat young people, how you protect young people. They don't even give a damn. They don't give a damn. They're more worried about protecting Peter Thiel, you know, Elon Musk, Donald Trump. You know, they're actually more worried. Bill Clinton, even. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying anything that I know anything, but there's a list. Dershowitz. I mean, there's so many times they caught these people lying. Kennedy. This dude Kennedy, they openly go into the media and lie, and the media doesn't even check them on their lies. In the media, legacy media knows they are lying. How can you go out there and lie about how many times you've been on Jeffrey Epstein's jet and not get called out in legacy media? How many times can you not be told? I think Dershowitz said, yeah, the only time I was on it was with my family and blah, 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 my wife and my kids. Yo, that's utterly a lie. It's public information. It's been said loads of times. No, you were on there with people that actually say they were victims on the same plane ride, you know? So, you know, these men and not just men, when obviously, you know, there's more, but these people are hiding in plain sight. They're not hiding under a rock somewhere. They're hiding in plain sight. These are people the FBI can go and pick up today. They can go pick them up today. You know, not saying that there's not more of them. There's a lot more of them, but they know where they all are. They know where they all are, and they're just simply refusing. You know, but this is what's behind all the bullshit in the United States right now. This is literally Americans' freedom on the line. If these women are not free, if those girls are not free, there's no American citizen that's free, because those are the folks that run shit right now. You see what I mean? That's the power elite. I mean, they are literally allowed to do whatever they want to your body. That is how they really feel about every American. And it doesn't even have to be sexual assault, man. They think everyone else is trash to be disposed of and treated anyway, and they get away with it. They get away with it. Yeah, they were underage. They were children.
Here.
They were children when this happened, Maggie.
As I stand here today
Flat facts.
and look around, I want to acknowledge what it feels like to be in the presence of these incredibly brave, powerful women that I stand up here with. I am so empowered by each and every one of your fortitude, and I am following in the brave footsteps of those that came before me. While we each have our own stories and walk down different paths of life, we are bonded together as survivors. When I look into these beautiful faces, I am reminded that we all started our journeys with big hopes and dreams. Jeffrey Epstein and his co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell, stole and systematically destroyed those dreams. We are a mosaic of shattered hopes and dreams at their hands. As an aspiring dancer, the manipulation came in forms of offering me dance studio space, discussing opportunities to meet with ballet masters, and aiding a very ill family member of mine, none of which would ever come to pass. Instead, I was left in a cycle of abuse that wore me down and broke me. When it happened, I would have to completely disassociate. Similar to a coma, my brain would need to protect itself, so I would retreat in choreographing in my own head to escape the cruel acts that were being carried out on my body. After, I would go to the studio bundled in giant, baggy clothing. I remember standing there, staring in the mirror as if it were an empty void. I was past the point of tears. There was nothing left. I was a hollow shell of myself. I could no longer watch my body move, let alone dance. He had taken something sacred from me. 2 decades later, I am still experiencing lingering effects of what happened to me as a teenager. I am just one story in the mosaic of women taking back their power by confronting the horrific truths of their pasts due to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. We stand here today in the nation's capital for no other reason than to say that women's voices will not be marginalized. We stand together as a mosaic of stories, but we're also finding our way back to ourselves. We are reclaiming the fragmented shards of the hopes and dreams of our past to paint a better future for the next generation of women. This story has come to Washington to be told. We will be heard. Thank you.
Yep. And, you know, the trolls don't want to hear it. The trolls don't want to hear it. The MAGA supporters don't want to hear it. I mean, how goddamn dumb can you be? I mean, to have someone that's just literally saying, I can get away with raping whoever I want. I mean, these people claim to be Americans. They rape American little girls. You know what I'm saying? They claim they're the Heritage Foundation, you know, but loads of these people don't go back that many generations any goddamn way in America. But, you know, these are twisted people. These are twisted people that just use concepts to attack and kill, you know, at will, you know, and hoard at will. They don't mean anything good for anybody. If they want to say heritage, what they mean is fuck heritage. If they want to say, you know, freedom, what they mean is take your freedom. If they want, you know, it's all an assault. It's only an assault with these people, an assault on the poor, an assault on the middle class, an assault on the innocents. You know, it's only that for the sake of being gluttonous people that just hoard power and really don't care and will come out like MAGA Mike Johnson and look you in the face every day like you're goddamn stupid, you know, and lie in that camera day after day. I mean, Mike Johnson, shame on you. You are literally a devil. You are literally satanic. You are. You know, that's what these, and I'm not even religious. You know what I'm saying? I'm not religious at all, but these people are evil. They are evil. You know, to just go day after day, persistent in protecting it, persistent in covering it up, persistent in just like, it's like, God damn, do you have no heart? Do you have no empathy for anybody, for the helpless, for the vulnerable? They don't. And the whole time they're going to be telling you they're trying to protect America and they're fleecing and raping America, you know? All right. Yeah, this is just, you know, watching this is actually
My name is Jess
painful.
Michaels, and I'm a 1991 Jeffrey Epstein survivor.
It's painful.
27 years. For 27 years, I thought I was the only one that Jeffrey Epstein raped. I believed I was alone, and I was kept silent by the shame that was inside me and by the fear outside in the world. But I wasn't the only one. None of us were. And what once kept us silent now fuels that fire and the power of our voices. We are not the footnotes in some infamous predator's tabloid article. We are the experts and the subjects of this story. Yes. We are the proof that fear did not break us. And we don't just speak for ourselves, but for every survivor whose story is still unspoken. For those not with us today. For Virginia, whose courage lit the path and opened the door for us to walk through. This is what power looks like. Survivors united, voices joined, refusing to be dismissed. Know this, justice and accountability are not favors from the powerful. They are obligations decades overdue. This moment began with Epstein's crimes, but it's going to be remembered for survivors demanding justice, demanding truth, demanding accountability, and we will not stop until survivor voices shape justice, transform culture, and define the future. We are no longer whispers. We are one powerful voice too loud to ignore, and we will never be silenced again. Thank you.
Yeah, facts, Maggie. I mean, I think most people, I think what happened here was that Republicans weaponized the Epstein list. They went before the world and weaponized it, and they talked about Hillary Clinton drinking blood on Epstein Island, and they kept pointing at that and pointing at that and pointing at Bill Clinton. I mean, they the ones who made it political, Lo and behold, actually, right now, I don't see any Democrat coming out saying, hey, we don't think this should come out. We don't think the list should be. It's only the Republican reps that are saying they don't think it should be released right now. It's only them. Now there are a few Republicans that have gathered together with Democrats to say release the shit now. But actually, MAGA Mike Johnson is literally out there trying to stop. I mean, he's done this time and time again. What was it with this guy Gates? He tried to cover up the fact that this dude paid little girls, young women, 17-year-olds for sex. I don't know how many, but he literally worked to cover it up, to make sure that it didn't come out to the public, and how they do it is they say that we're going to have these little closed hearings, but they don't want it to be public. That's literally what they did yesterday. Mike Johnson sat in front of these women's faces and suggested again that it doesn't have to come out. Look, it shouldn't be politicized. It shouldn't be politicized, but they politicize it. And, and they are actually at the same time, they're in power. I mean, every single pick right now, every person you could go to say, hey, release the list, is a Republican pick. Kash Patel, it literally has no background in what he does. He's there because Republicans said, hey, we're good with that. Trump said, hey, we're good with that. And they approved it as a majority party. Pam Bondi, she's there right now because they were approved as, the majority, by the majority, which are the Republicans, chosen by Trump, So obviously they're very trusted by Trump. He chose them, and it shouldn't be political. But, hey, it is really, really weird when the same dude that we know is all up in these Epstein files is buddy with Putin, the enemy of the United States of America. I mean, that can't be just ironic. I didn't see Biden cozying up to the enemy of the United States of America. I didn't hear Biden tell anybody to do anything. He said, actually, Biden's whole thing was saying that these departments are separate, that he doesn't tell the head of the DOJ how to do their job. He doesn't tell the head of the FBI how to do their job. He's saying you might have a political appointee, but the executive branch does not tell them, does not control them. Biden didn't operate this way. Trump literally came into office saying this is how we do it. The executive branch controls the DOJ. We control the FBI. He literally did that. And his appointees said, yes, Heil Trump, every single step of the way. And MAGA people praised that approach. They praised it. That's what we got going on here. This is extra special. But I do agree that I would say this is more about corruption. This is more about corruption, money, and power in the United States of America. And this shit got to end. It's got to end. And it shouldn't matter what party you're with. It shouldn't matter because these people they donate money to both parties. A lot of these people, they donate money to both parties, ironically enough. So, they try to hedge their bets to make sure they stay on top. And from what I see right now, the only people that can call themselves champions are these women. I think it's great that that there's people in Congress and people, fighting to get this stuff to come out, demanding it. Of course, it should be demanded, and it should have been demanded a long time ago. But I think the only heroes here are these women, because they had to tell their story without any protection, under threat of death, time and time again, under threat, all types of threats. And nobody did a damn thing about it. And they still mustered up the courage to live life and continue to this point. That's goddamn hard to do. That's very hard to do, so it is what it is. But, we ain't going to get anywhere if we don't call the people out in power right now. That's what we got to do, because after all, the same people, if we don't call the people, whoever they are, no matter what party they are, if we don't call the people in power out right now, it's our asses right now that these same people are exploiting. They may be exploiting us in another way, but they are exploiting us. No doubt about it. They're trying to take our Social Security. They're trying to take take your taxpayer dollars, give it to themselves, and try to say that you're the one begging for Medicare. Go get a job. They literally kicking people out on the street saying, hey, you don't deserve health care if you can't work. Well, what if your health is not good enough to work? They don't care. And I dare say it's very, very extreme at this point. So, yeah, but off with all their heads, for real. I don't give a damn. I'm not protecting anybody. I don't like dynasties, and I don't like corruption. And I think the United States, we got 350 million citizens. Yo, we need more citizens involved in leadership, in government, in Congress, Supreme Court. That shit got to go. That shit has to change. No more lifetime appointees. No more. You guys suck. I think one of these judges, not on the Supreme Court, but not on the higher court, but another one, I think it was in Florida. Is that her? She just got a book deal. These talking about writing her story. These people are corrupt. These people are corrupt. You really think it's wise to give judges book deals? Like, I'm sorry. And that's another, of course, they typically do this book deal shit, but you really think that's going to stop corruption? I'm sorry. It just don't work that way. You should not be able to profit privately from anything when you are sitting. When you get down off the bench and when you're no longer a judge, yeah, you should be able to talk your talk. But not while you're sitting on the damn bench. That's crazy. That is so crazy. But we got this is the law that Congress put out. It's Congress that says how long the judges can be there. It's Congress that says, yeah, you can write a book while you're sitting on the bench. It's Congress that says, you know what? You could be a corrupt Supreme Court justice and there's no punishment for you if you take money under the table. No punishment at all. There's no punishment if you make erroneous politicized decisions. Zero punishment. Zero punishment for these people. Sound like freedom to you? It's all effed up. It's all effed up. And it didn't get this way by accident. It took a lot of helpers. It took the people to help the girls be molested. It took a lot of people helping them to get molested. And it takes a lot of people helping the perpetrators from not going to, and that's judges, that's congressmen, that's senators, that's presidents, that's a lot. That's also big elite money people. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. Elon Musk surely wanted Trump to be president. He didn't stop for 1 second and say, maybe this dude's a pedo. He didn't stop for 1 second. He's the richest dude on earth. He didn't have any access to that information. No, he didn't give a goddamn. He didn't give a damn. And now he's trying to play victim. He's literally trying to play victim. He knew this dude was all caught up in this shit, and he pushed him into power, literally. You know, I mean, none of these damn people can be trusted. They can't be trusted. They all got to go. If you ask me, the United States is not a free country. It's not a free country. People are not free. No. If you ask me, I know other countries, other people know what freedom is a little bit more. Freedom is the right to walk out of your house and to not worry about getting shot every damn day, or to not worry about losing your job and being thrown out on the street, not worried about getting sick and having to, die while you work because you can't even afford to get access to healthcare. That's freedom. Freedom's not in the U.S., yo. It's not in the U.S. And I'm just saying it, it could be. Folks fight for freedom all the time, but this corruption has stopped. It has stopped freedom from existing in the USA. And these women, they definitely didn't have freedom. They might have the freedom to talk right now, but people have been trying to stop them from talking the whole time. Just their truth. That is not freedom. You can't be free. If they're not free, you're not free. Like flat out. Flat out. All right, let me get into the chat a little bit. Let me see something here. I saw a few comments here. People been kind of live in the chat. Yo, click like and subscribe. I hate to say that on this kind of video because, goddamn, but that's how the algorithms are. Click like and subscribe if you haven't. But let me see here. Yeah, Maggie, they don't care. They don't care. Teal says, oh, I guess somebody named Chris wrote some disgusting stuff in the chat, and I don't even, unless it's the language is so foul. I like for the world to get a whiff of what some people think, how rotten some people are about these kind of things. It's necessary to show people, how bad. Hold on. Can y'all hear me? How's the audio? It's necessary to show people how bad things really are in some people's minds. And when you give them the opportunity to write it, hey, let them do it. Let them write how disgusting they are. Okay, let me see something. Abergene said, as if this isn't bad enough, we're paying for Maxwell to have cushy accommodations, but these heroes have to eat the cost of their own mental health. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That is so tragic. You're right. Healthcare after suffering at the hands of. Exactly. The government is not even trying to help them get mental care. That's crazy. That is criminal. That's not freedom. That's not caring. That's not a FBI or a DOJ or a Congress or a Senate that cares. That's not a Supreme Court that cares. That's not a justice system. Excuse me, that cares. That's not caring. It's just not caring. And if you got used to thinking that is caring, man, you live in an abusive life and in an abusive world. That is not caring. That's the opposite of caring. That's not caring. And expecting people to just, expecting society to be great when you got some mean asses, some cruel people running every damn thing, people that don't even have compassion for the poor, for the helpless, for these girls. They don't have compassion for them. That's a very bad sign. That's a very, very bad sign for a society. And I mean it. I'm telling you, I mean it. Look, let me tell y'all something. Look, not to get off topic, it's on topic, but maybe about a month ago, I was taking the metro home, here in Copenhagen. I was taking the metro home on the way from work, and I got stopped by a ticket checker. You know, even though I have the app, it's an app. It's not really a ticket, but they have a way of scanning your app to see if you're paying or if you, you know, this kind of thing, if you checked your ticket or whatever, right? And the guy scanned mine. And even though mine said I'm in a journey currently, right, which is what it's supposed to say when you're in a journey, he said, well, it doesn't say that in mine. Mine, it says you checked out at blah, blah, blah time and whatever. And I was like, no, you can see right here, I'm checked in and it's ongoing, you know. And for some reason, he couldn't see it in his checking system, right? I don't know why the hell that was. And then another guy came up because, you know, there's always two. And they started talking, and the dude, and I was telling him, man, I take the train here every day. This is the normal ride for me. I'm checked in. You could see I'm checked in on my app, and it's been checked in. And he was like, well, that's not what it says here. It's your responsibility to check in. And right when he said it was your responsibility to check in, I actually got pissed because I'm like, I did check in. It is my responsibility. And then I said to him, but it's your responsibility for your shit to work. It's not my responsibility. I don't make these apps. And as you can see, literally right here on the screen, it says I've been on this journey and I'm still on it. You can't give me a ticket for that, right? And he just wasn't trying to hear it. And I actually hit the roof. I'm going to be honest with you. I hit the roof, and it was two of them. And I literally flipped out. And you know what? I even kind of poked the dude. You know what I'm saying? I was that pissed because I'm on my way home from work. You know, that particular day, I don't have any personal issues, but I think I always try to make the most out of my time. And so I had some things I'm planning on doing, some things I already got set in my mind, and then I'm getting interrupted by this bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I actually got pissed, you know? And, well, I never got a ticket, obviously, because when I got home, I turned the ride off. I turned the ticket thing off, and it shows me where my ride was from, where it went to, how much I'm charged, blah, blah, blah. So obviously you can't get a ticket, right? Because I was checked in, regardless of what he says, right? They can't get you a ticket that way. And they struggled for like a minute trying to give me a ticket, but for some reason it wouldn't work. But they still struggled trying to do it. And I felt maybe profiled or something. You know, I didn't understand what was going on. So that kind of led to my attitude, right? But guess what? Some weeks went by, and I saw the guy like 2 weeks later. I didn't see him for a while. That was strange. And I saw him like 2 weeks later. I don't know if he changed lines or something. And then he looked at me, and then he kind of looked the other way. And I said, okay. And then so I went on my way. And then I saw him a couple of days after. I just saw him today. And you know what I did? I walked right up to the guy and put out my hand to him. And I said, I have to tell you, in Danish, I said, I have to tell you I'm sorry. That's what I said to the dude. And you know why I did that? Because I thought about it. And I said, you know what? Even though it wasn't my mistake, I didn't have to behave that way. Actually, nothing was going to come out of it. Maybe I would have gotten a ticket. Likely not, though, like I said, because it literally said I was already checked in and had been checked in for some time, you know. But I thought about it. But here's the thing. I thought about that, and I said, this guy, he's just at work like me. You know what I'm saying? He's probably had a bad day too, or maybe he was rushing. Who knows what kind of pressure he was under? Who knows? I don't know. I'm not saying it's true, but I don't know. But the reason why I did that was because I don't want no confusion between me and him. I want him to understand. I understand. You see what I mean? And I shouldn't, just because he made that mistake doesn't mean I should have behaved that way. You see what I'm saying? And the only reason why I'm saying this, y'all, is because when that's just over a ticket, it's called reflection. That's just over a ticket. You see what I mean? And I reflected over it. You see what I'm saying? I didn't let that one little ticket control the future. But see, what happened here is a lot of people not being able to simply admit when they're wrong, admit when they're hurting people, admit when it's their fault, when there is some suffering, and fucking stop it. That's what's going on here. And this is about child sex trafficking. You know, so you can't have of freedom. But you see, I live in Copenhagen, Denmark. So even though I'm an American, I live in Copenhagen, Denmark. And that's actually one of the things that motivated me, because I was like, you know what? In the U.S., maybe you might put your hands on somebody. You might get frustrated. Somebody could die over a damn ticket. And then it hit me. I was like, I overreacted, man. This is Copenhagen, Denmark. The worst that's going to happen is I'm going to get a ticket. But you know something? They can even figure out a way to help you out with that if it's screwing you over. You know, if it's that bad. You know what I'm saying? It's just called accountability. Everybody can be accountable. You know what I'm saying? When they are. Everybody needs to be responsible when you are. But these folks, they don't claim any goddamn level of accountability, responsibility, and they have the job that says they're out there to protect and defend, and they're getting paid by your tax dollars. They take zero accountability. It can't be any worse than that. There's no clearer message. There's no clearer message. I mean, you know. Yeah, so let me get back to the chat. I'm sorry, y'all. I just wanted to say that, but because, you know, it starts and it stops with people, how we want to treat each other. But if we want to allow people to treat other people bad, then you can't go out there and preach about how, how like you're better than somebody else. You know, you can't do it. If you want things to be better, and if you really are better than somebody else, then you need to take accountability and think about the suffering that you cause, you know? Yeah, now, Maggie says she was a victim also. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Maggie. I'm sorry to hear that, actually. And there's obviously a lot of people that are listeners that have been victims. And it's not easy. It's a triggering thing to have to relive it. And you do relive it when you talk about it. And I don't even like hearing about this shit. You know, it really is bad because, let's keep it real. The same people that would go after these little girls, they would probably go after some boys too. You know, they're just as heartless. And a lot of them do. I think Kevin Spacey is in the Epstein files, and he got accused, or he got accused of this. You know, this is just like, wow. All right, so let me see here. Yeah, I want to just read a few comments here. I saw a few. Okay, Tim Waltz assaulted a 14-year-old boy when he was a teacher in Nebraska. Okay, I didn't know that. Is it adjudicated? You know, has he been adjudicated? Has it gone to court? Is it a civil or is it a criminal issue? What happened with that? Jay Sharp, where'd you get that information from? Let me as a matter of fact, let me look that up right now, because I don't like to say things without really let me see here. I can flip this up. Let me go to Google real quick and check this. Boom. Somebody sent me a super chat. I appreciate that. I'm gonna get right to that right now. 2 seconds. Let me just follow up on this Tim Waltz thing that I saw here now. Boom. Is it like this? Okay, let's see here. Was Tim Waltz accused of sexual assault? Boom. Can y'all see this? Let me just try to make this a little smaller too. Okay. It's thinking. Okay, it says. Okay, yeah, it says yes, false sexual allegations about him circulated online. That was online. So apparently you don't have proof, right? Okay, I'm going to read this though, because it's very important to be factual and to care. You know, to be factual and to do your research before you say something is to care. It's actually to care about what you're doing. So let's listen.
endmwikipedia.org/we. Short answer, you likely mean Tim Walls. Yes, false sexual assault allegations about him circulated online in October 2024, but they were debunked. What happened? Brief. In Oct 2024, viral posts and a manipulated deepfake video claimed Wold sexually abused former students while he taught. Independent fact checks concluded the claims were false. Factcheck.afp.com, US. Intelligence and news investigations linked the smear to Russian-aligned disinformation networks that amplified fabricated stories and manipulated media. AP News, researchers and the supposed accuser named in some posts said the person shown quoted was misidentified or not the same person, and there was no credible evidence supporting the allegation. Civilbeat.org, major outlets AFP, CBS, France 24, Wired, AP, etc. reported the story as an unfounded smear and traced its spread and origins. Factcheck.afp.com. If you want, I can give a short...
All right, so we know we got Russian trolls out here, and this is just a fact of life. And we know that people get influenced. Citizens get influenced by Russian troll campaigns, right? So, again, it's just a learning moment. For me, I think it's wise to when we discuss these things, to really try to focus on the things that fall center over and over and over. Like, I'm sorry, you know, I think it's, if you've been on Jeffrey Epstein's plane, like Bill Clinton has been, no matter what you say, going somewhere, I think that's worth suspecting something. But that's a different thing from just listening to foreign, you know, intelligence operations. You know, that means you're doing the opposite, you know, spreading information. Like, there's plenty of pedophiles for real to be caught, and just to do it to try to you know, I don't know for what reason, you know, but you should consider the fact that there's a lot of you know, election interference that goes on in the United States, and a lot of disinformation, you know. So these women, since they're the topic of it, who were children when they were sexually assaulted and sex trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein, there's loads of corroborating evidence to kind of stick with that story for a second and try to deal with that one at a time, you know, than to just jump off and try to find anything, you know. It's interesting. It's interesting, but there's others, you know, like here, let's see here. Let's see. There was, you know, I believe Alan Dershowitz. I don't even know how to spell his name. I'm sorry, but Dershowitz said he was only with his family when he took Epstein flights. Do the facts support that? This is somebody who was Trump's attorney at one time, but he's also, they say, a longtime friend of Epstein. Let's listen. Allen says he was innocent. I heard him recite some things that didn't turn out to be factual. You know, people have been calling it out on, you know, it's public information, but the man went out there for some reason and just continued to recite the same set of falsehoods. And to me, if you're Jeffrey Epstein's best friend, that's probably a sign that there's something more there than not there, you know. And here we go. So, you know, and again, you know, belief is all relative, but you look really stupid when you're willing to just believe anything with nothing you can find to support your claim. You know, it's another thing to believe something when there's a lot of corroborating evidence, right? That's different. So I don't fault people for believing, quote unquote, but just how you believe, how simple you are in your beliefs, or how, you know, critical you are in your beliefs, that I think is open for judgment, you know. But let's see here. Alan Dershowitz. Let's see what comes up here. Yeah, here it is. Okay, it's coming across the information. Let's see here. Oh, this chat GDP is in Danish, so, but let's see here. Short answer, no. Okay, Alan Dershowitz has publicly suggested he essentially always with his wife, family, was always with his wife and family when using, oh, well, you know what? Let me let ChatGPT spell it out.
Short answer, no. Alan Dershowitz has publicly suggested he was essentially always with his wife family when using Jeffrey Epstein's planes. For example, in 2015 he told the American Lawyer, as quoted by Gawker, that his wife goes with me everywhere, using that to argue he wasn't the profile of someone who screws around. Gawker: but the published flight logs don't support a family-only picture. Several entries list Dershowitz aboard without any family members noted. For instance, multiple legs on September 8 to 9, 1996, where passengers are recorded as Jeff Epstein and Alan Dershowitz, among others like John Glenn, with no wife or daughter listed. IA01606.us.archive.org. Put simply, Dershowitz did fly on Epstein's aircraft, and the logs include flights where he was not accompanied by family, contradicting the claim that he only flew with them.
Okay. Do any records suggest victims were on any of those flights? Yeah, I actually, yeah, you see, look, yes, the man, like, I mean, yeah. And what I mean by evidence is these are flight logs, you know? The man lied about the flight logs.
The available records strongly suggest that victims and alleged victims were on some of the same flights as Alan Dershowitz. The Epstein flight logs, entered in court exhibits in civil cases, show Dershowitz on flights in the 1990s where names of women later identified as Epstein accusers also appear. For example, Virginia Giuffre, then Virginia Roberts, who has accused both Epstein and Dershowitz, appears in logs from the early 2000s on flights between Florida, New York, and the Caribbean.
Yo, power to
Journalistic investigations, e.g. Miami Herald, New York Times, Daily Beast, have reported that logs show Dershowitz sharing flights with young women whom survivors and prosecutors later identified as part of Epstein's trafficking network. Dershowitz has denied any wrongdoing and continues to maintain that he never met Giuffre except through false accusation. He has also argued that the flight logs don't prove proximity or misconduct. So, yes, records show Dershowitz was on flights also carrying women later identified as victims/accusers. But it's contested. Dershowitz disputes their significance, while survivors' accounts and logs have been used to argue otherwise. Would you like me to pull up a side-by-side chart of Dershowitz's logged flights with passenger lists highlighting which ones included known accusers?
Let's see here. We might as well. But this is just an example. There's loads of these people. I mean, there's so much information publicly available that the FBI, they ain't doing nothing about. They're just not interested, you know? Or, but even Congress is not interested. You know, it's one thing to say the FBI is not interested or the DOJ is not interested. Okay, to some degree, maybe they are, maybe they're not. But when Congress doesn't have to do this. They don't have to follow the same rules. You know, they can pretty much put people on trial in front of the public pretty much anytime they want. Really, all it takes is enough votes. And for some reason, Congress hasn't acted on this. So let's go over this. Let's see who was on the flights.
Here's a concise and clear side-by-side look at what the Epstein flight logs confirm regarding Alan Dershowitz and whether any known victims or alleged victims, such as Virginia Giuffre, were on those same flights based on available public records and credible sources. Flight logs entries for Alan Dershowitz, 1996. The flight logs, made available via unredacted PDF records, document several flights in September 1996 featuring Alan Dershowitz aboard Epstein's plane. September 8 to 9th, 1996, Flight 886, Columbus OH, Washington, D.C., includes Alan Dershowitz, Pass 3, IA01666.us.archive.org. Flight 888, Columbus OH, Teterboro, NJ, includes Alan Dershowitz, Pass 2, IA01666.archive.org. Flight 889, Teterboro, NJ, Boston, MA, includes Alan Dershowitz, Pass 2, IA81606.yourarchive.org. These are specific and confirmed entries, illustrating that Dershowitz flew with Epstein on these dates. Evidence of victims or accusers being on the same flights. Virginia Giuffre, Virginia Roberts. Court documents, not the flight logs themselves, but subsequent legal filings, include allegations that Virginia Giuffre had sexual encounters with Dershowitz, some of which allegedly occurred on Epstein's plane VAM. Business Insider. However, the flight logs themselves do not explicitly list Virginia Giuffre or Virginia Roberts by name. Her name does not appear in the publicly released flight logs as an identifiable passenger alongside Dershowitz. Other alleged victims. Similarly, none of the publicly available flight logs that include Dershowitz list identifiable victims or accusers. The logs include many names, but those publicly known as victims, such as Giuffre, do not appear in the accessible 1996 entries. Summary table. Question what the records show. The victims, such as Giuffre, was Alan Dershowitz on Epstein flights? Yes, multiple flights in September 1996 are documented showing Dershowitz on board. Do flight logs show known victims' accusers on those flights? No, the logs do not show names like Virginia Giuffre on the same flights. Are there allegations linking Dershowitz and victims on those flights? Yes. Legal filings, e.g. Giuffre's deposition, allege contact on planes, but not corroborated by flight logs. Important notes. Flight logs alone confirm Dershowitz physically travelled on Epstein's plane, but do not include known victim names for those specific flights. Allegations from legal filings and depositions, e.g. by Virginia Giuffre, claim certain encounters happened on Epstein's plane, but the flight logs have not independently verified these claims. The logs are a record of who was on board, but don't detail activities or contexts regarding their travel. What would you like next? I can help you explore more recent or broader flight logs for other dates. Alternatively, I could dive into how Giuffre's allegations and legal deposition describe those flights in detail. Or I could help pull in other credible sources, analysing the correlation between Dershowitz's flights and alleged victims' presence.
Okay, so
let me know how you'd like to proceed, or if you'd like more details from court filings or investigations.
That's ChatGPT for you. Yes, but so basically, what it shows is that he lied, but they didn't have victims' names logged. Right now, the victims say that they took flights with this guy. But so it's up to the flight logs, the available flight logs. But it does show that he lied. The way he described being on plane rides with Jeffrey Epstein wasn't actually as accurate as and forthright as he alleged. Now, these are people who were on flights with people that are logged, with victims that are logged. Let's hear that real quick.
Good question. And the flight logs are one of the most concrete pieces of evidence in the Epstein case. They don't prove crimes on their own, but they do show overlap between Epstein's known or alleged victims and prominent passengers. Here's what's established from the unredacted flight logs, 1995 to 2013, entered as court exhibits and later reporting, Miami Herald, Insider, Daily Beast, etc. Key overlaps between victims and notable passengers. Bill Clinton logged 26-plus flights on Epstein's jets between 2001 to 2003. Some flights listed Ghislaine Maxwell and Sarah Kellen, aka Vickers, both later accused of trafficking recruiting victims. Logs also include young women with only first names, e.g. Tatiana, on Clinton flights. Clinton has denied knowing anything about Epstein's crimes. Prince Andrew logged flights with Virginia Roberts, Giuffre, Epstein's most outspoken accuser, in 2001, including trips between London, New York, and the Caribbean. Giuffre said she was trafficked to Andrew during this period, which he denies. Les Wexner, Victoria's Secret founder, Epstein managed his finances. Logs show overlap with Epstein's inner circle and alleged victims on flights in the late 1990s. While less frequent after 2000, Wexner is tied to Epstein properties where victims later testified abuse occurred. Kevin Spacey and Chris Tucker flew on Epstein's jet with Bill Clinton on a humanitarian trip to Africa in 2002. Logs also show Maxwell and alleged victim recruiters like Sarah Kellen on board during parts of these trips. Jean-Luc Brunel, model scout, frequently on Epstein flights with young women listed by first name only. Multiple of these women later testified they were victims. Brunel was later charged in France with rape of minors before dying in custody, 2022. Other frequent overlaps. Nadia Marcinkova, Epstein's sex slave according to sworn testimony, appears repeatedly in flight logs alongside political figures, lawyers, and celebrities. Sarah Kellen and Leslie Groff, accused enablers, also appear alongside both victims and high-profile men. Important clarifications. The logs do show victims' accusers on the same flights as powerful men. But not every flight with young women equals proof of crime. Some names remain unverified, some were staff, others possibly legitimate travellers. Victims' presence in logs has been corroborated by court testimony, e.g. Giuffre, Marcinkova, Kellen. So, in short, Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, Kevin Spacey, Chris Tucker, Les Wexner, Jean-Luc Brunel, and many others are confirmed in the logs sharing flights with victims or alleged victims like Virginia Giuffre, Nadia Marcinkova, and Sarah Kellen. Alan Dershowitz appears in the logs, but his overlap with named victims is less clear in the surviving documents, though victims have alleged encounters on flights. Do you want me to build a visual chart matrix showing which high-profile figures shared flights with which named victims from the logs plus testimony? That would make the overlaps very clear at a glance.
Can y'all see what I'm typing here? Okay. Yeah, I wanted to do the non-pro. I wanted they used the phrase "and others." I wanted the ChatGPT to clarify who are the others and who are the high-profile and low-profile people. Okay, let's see here. Just to be clear, and then I'm going to be out. Let me just get this out there real quick.
Got it? Let's break this down properly. The Epstein flight logs, 1995 to 2013, are dense with hundreds of passengers. Some are clearly victims or alleged victims, some are accused enablers, and others are high-profile names, politicians, business leaders, celebrities. Here's a structured list of who flew with known or alleged victims, divided into high-profile persons and non-high-profile but notable overlaps. Tash high-profile persons who shared flights with victims' accusers. Prince Andrew appears in 2001 flight logs with Virginia Giuffre, Roberts, Epstein, and Maxwell. Giuffre has sworn she was trafficked to him. Andrew denies wrongdoing. Bill Clinton, 26-plus logged flights 2001 to 2003. Shared flights with Ghislaine Maxwell, Sarah Kellen, and women listed only by first names, Tatiana, Chonte, etc. Some later identified as victims. Kevin Spacey and Chris Tucker flew with Clinton on Africa trip 2002. Also on board, Maxwell, Sarah Kellen, and women later alleged to be victims. Larry Summers, ex-Harvard president, U.S. Treasury Secretary, appears in logs with Maxwell and women alleged to be part of Epstein's entourage. Ehud Barak, ex-Prime Minister of Israel, noted in logs alongside Maxwell and young women, also seen at Epstein's NY townhouse. Jean-Luc Brunel, model scout, later arrested for trafficking minors, frequently listed with Nadia Marcinkova and other women later identified as victims. Les Wexner, Victoria's Secret founder, shared flights in late 1990s with Epstein's inner circle, including Maxwell and recruiters. Alan Dershowitz, on multiple flights with Epstein and Maxwell, some overlaps with alleged enablers, like Sarah Kellen. Victims allege encounters on flights, though logs don't explicitly show him with Giuffre. Non-high profile but central figures, victims and enablers. Victims' accusers, seen in logs. Virginia Giuffre, Roberts, present on flights with Prince Andrew, Maxwell, Epstein. Nadia Marcinkova, logged dozens of times with Epstein and high-profile men. She was described in sworn testimony as Epstein's sex slave. Chonte Davies, survivor who later testified Epstein assaulted her, logged on multiple flights, including with Clinton and Maxwell. Sarah Kellen, a.k.a. Sarah Vickers, later accused of recruiting trafficking, appears constantly in logs with both victims and VIP passengers. Leslie Groff, Epstein's assistant, accused enabler, appears in logs with victims and VIPs. Other young women, first names only, dozens appear in logs, e.g. Mandy, Michelle, Tatiana, Eva. Several were later identified in court records or testimony as underage or exploited. What this means? Confirmed overlaps. The logs show Prince Andrew, Clinton, Spacey, Tucker, Summers, Barak, Wexner, Bruneshowitz all sharing flights with either known victims, Giuffre, Marcinkova, Davies, or accused enablers, Maxwell, Kellen, Groff. Patterns. High-profile figures weren't usually on flights alone with Epstein. Instead, they were often surrounded by Maxwell, assistants, and young women. some of whom later came forward as victims. Next step, if you want, I can build you a visual cross-reference chart showing columns equals high profile.
Okay, so, apparently there's a lot of victims that, their names weren't logged when they took flights. Some only logged as first names, and some not, allegedly not logged at all. And I guess that happens when you're taking this many amount of flights. It's these are private planes, and it's not the same as if me and you, when we take a plane or when we take a train and have to buy a ticket. And when you buy a ticket, your name is listed. Who you are is pretty much there when you buy an airplane ticket and all of this stuff, but when you're on a private plane, it's just like taking a ride up the road. Were you there? It's hard to corroborate it. It can be difficult to have a paper trail. And I think that likely is why a lot of victims can't come forward. Because who's going to corroborate it? And is it good enough to have another victim say, yeah, I saw her there. Yeah, I saw her. She was present. Is that enough to convict another person? Even if the victim that they all agree, yeah, we saw her present. We saw her there. Even if she was there, there might not be corroborating evidence of the assault. You see what I mean? So, but this is why people want the Epstein files released, so everybody can just know. And as you can clearly see, if there were 100 victims, right, then there's got to be 100 other people, hundreds of other people that are potentially perpetrators whose names are in those files. And these people could still have the victims said it today. These people are still floating around. They still have highfalutin lives. These people could still have, could still be operating in government. These people could still be operating in corporate USA, Fortune 500 companies, or whatever you have, they could be judges. They could be anybody, we're talking about aristocrats basically. Right. So, yeah. But on that note, I'm going to chime out for today. Sorry about being late. Again, I only had 3 hours of sleep since yesterday. So I'm about to get a few more hours sleep now, 3 more hours sleep, and then I got to head back, and then I'm off after that for a day. I got a free day. So, I got a pretty busy week this week, but I appreciate everybody. And, number one, everybody that's fighting this good fight, I thank you. If nobody else thanks you, I thank you, because this is the fight to be in. Not just the fight, not just about who the sex crimes were committed against. Of course, that is just triggering and horrid. The fact that our government won't stand on the side of victims and hides people, protects people, that aren't victims, right? But also the fight about getting our country back, because our country has gone way off, and this is just another a sign of it, like how off it literally is. It's not just that we have a president that sides with Putin, which is not even ironic, because actually some of these victims claim, I've heard that some of these people that Epstein was trafficking are Ukraine girls that were taken out of Ukraine long ago. I'm serious. I'm not bullshitting. I never lie and I never exaggerate. I'm serious about this. I heard that some of these people were early traffic victims from Ukraine that Russian mafia took and brought, seriously, straight up. So Putin likely knows a lot about this too. But not only that, the whole idea about espionage, the whole idea relationship with Trump and these, it just goes down the same story. These guys have modeling agencies. So then Trump has a beauty pageant in Russia. He says all kinds of weird things about his beauty pageant. Yeah, I could walk in there and see them naked. Basically, it's his property. It's his production. He gets to see the product, right? It's very likely Putin has something on him. I have no doubt myself, but you have to say it's very likely, because I don't want to get my ass sued. But, these are the times we're living in. In my mind, these are not coincidences. at the same time that you have people covering up and protecting pedophiles, the same time, the same group of folks that are covering up and protecting the pedophiles are willing to send the military out on the streets of the USA to attack the homeless, to attack U.S. citizens, and even to attack people that were legally in the country following the rules of the immigration system, grab their babies and rip mothers from their children, rip fathers from their children, separate their families in the most horrid way. You see it every day. It's like Nazi Germany. I mean, seriously, straight up. It's like South Africa apartheid, like just no care about people. A lot of these people, they say you could call them Central Americans, you could call them Mexicans, you could call, no, you better dig deep. A lot of these people are Native Americans. Native American. They are our neighbors. Even if they are from Mexico, Mexico is our neighbor. Do you want to be treated bad by your neighbor that way? No American. I've traveled. I've been to South America. You know what I'm saying? I've been to a lot of North America. I've been to Canada too. You see what I'm saying? Americans, we don't get treated like that by our neighbors. Even if you overstay by accident or by whatever case, they're not violating your human rights. They're still treating us with dignity and respect while they prosecute or while they do whatever. We're actually treated very kindly. And now look at how we're treating them. Nothing good can come from that. And by the way, South Americans, one of the reasons why I do this podcast, and North Americans and other people around the world, so I have something to point back to when I travel, so people can know who I am, that I am not the other type. No, I'm the type that recognizes and acknowledges real history, real American history, what it really is about. You see what I mean? Who the real people are. You see what I'm saying? I acknowledge people. You see, so I don't want people seeing me, another American, just because they're South American or Central American or Caribbean or Canadian, seeing me as the enemy. You see what I mean? No, we're all brothers and sisters in this together. We share blood. We share blood across these countries because of the history. I don't know if you heard anything about the slave trade. I don't know if you heard anything about colonization. Yeah, we share blood. We do. Nobody was just standing still in one place. No, these people were coming to one place and being shipped to another place and going back to another place. And then, you know, even the people that were the colonizers was moving back and forth into different parts of the Americas. You know, we share blood. So we got to learn how to treat each other like family. Not that a lot of us don't treat each other like family. A lot of us have a lot of respect for each other. But this administration has zero. And it's no surprise because Trump, he's damn near even American. Elon Musk, is he American? Peter Thiel has 3 goddamn nationalities. I only have one nationality. Even though I live in a foreign country, I only have one nationality. I'm American. I don't hold 3 goddamn passports. And these people have so much influence in our life just because they're rich and powerful. They get to play this game. So on that note, I'm out. Appreciate everybody that knows what I'm talking about. You know, if you get a chance to help another person or to be kind to another person, be kind. Don't hesitate. That goes a long way. That goes way farther in helping and protecting our country than people like Kash Patel and Bondi and what's his name, Steve Miller are doing for our country. You know, kindness to each other does way more to protect our country than these fools ever could and ever have any intention of doing. So, so I appreciate everybody. And, you know, on that note, I'm going to catch up with you guys very soon. I appreciate y'all. One.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Subscribe. Click the like button. 1. They want more.
crying babies looking for food, starvation, the recipe, people subdued. When the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day and every clue. Don't let it go, it's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep, leaving 7 roads to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a death old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and up and we on the break. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die, you voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want